What's up, everypony? Back today with something a little different. A compilation of my thoughts and headcanons for everyone's favourite bacon horse. I want to give thanks to everyone who submitted questions and their own headcanons. It's always great hearing from you guys. I also wanted to quickly say before we get into today's video, my girlfriend and I are currently saving for visa applications, so if you'd like to donate anything to my Ko-Fi, the link is in the description below. With all of that out the way, let's get right into it. I also want to preface saying that these headcanons range from nothing burgers to major thoughts about world building. So first things first, I believe Sunset Shimmer fills her eyebrows in. This comes from the fact that there's like one short where she has like super light eyebrows when she's painting with Pinkie Pie. She's the only character whose eyebrows don't match her hair color, and I just found that was really funny. So that's my headcanon. Secondly, I think her favorite color is magenta, not red or orange. In almost every outfit of hers, she wears magenta to some degree. Her villain outfit, her Rainbow Rocks outfit, her Camp Everfree outfit, her pajamas. I could go on and on. She loves the color magenta. I had a few people ask me about my thoughts and opinions about her relationship with other characters, but specifically Pinkie Pie, and I'm here to say that I think Pinkie Pie is Sunset's best friend. Throughout the movies and specials, this kind of just gets reaffirmed over and over again. Pinkie's the first person that calls out to Sunset in the gym, welcoming her with enthusiastic and open arms. Like, sure, the girls were told to be her friend, but Pinkie was the first and honestly, probably the only one of the girls that actually tried to be her friend because of who Sunset was, rather than because Princess Twilight told them to. This is mostly apparent in the Backstage Pass special because it has their friendship as the sole focus of the special, something that Sunset doesn't have with any of the other characters besides Sideway, who is her girlfriend. I think it's very cool that this was a relationship that saw actual development and was given attention. From silly little interactions and the Choose Your Own Adventure shorts to having a full-blown special about their friendship, it's super cool that the character who was the bridge for Princess Twilight to make deeper connections with people is also the bridge to help Sunset make those connections too. This next one's pretty out there as far as headcanons and theories go, but it's one that I know is pretty popular and is still cool nonetheless. Sunburst being Sunset's brother. Obviously, this isn't true, but the theory stems from the fact that their designs are super similar, and the story of Sunburst being accepted into Celestia's school for gifted unicorns and immediately being shipped off just has very interesting implications if you consider the same thing happened to Sunset. The way Sunburst's mother is overbearing towards him and his academic successes, it just becomes so tasty when you consider Sunburst having an older sister who was banished from the castle, as if Sunburst's success will make up for the shame of that. Which, if you choose to believe this headcanon, could be why Sunset is never talked about. It also makes for a very tasty sibling dynamic to be the younger brother who has to make up for your older sister's mistakes. Just delicious all around. This next one circles back to Pinkie Pie and Sunset being best friends. In the Let It Rain music video, there's only a set of drums in the background and a rhythm guitar that plays the melody, so I like to imagine that Sunset and Pinkie wrote it together during the Star World Music Festival. This is also not really a headcanon. Sunset is a terrible actress, but I like to think that she picked it up from Celestia, who also canonically cannot act. This next one is also kind of not a headcanon. Sunset's best subject is chemistry. This is confirmed in the book Sunset Shimmer's Time to Shine, but I like to think that she also sucks at math. Next up, Sunset likes high heels because the click-clack sounds like hooves. Again, another Pinkie Pie related headcanon. I believe Pinkie is the one that introduced Sunset to Post Crush. I feel like Sunset is a very rock and pop punk kind of gal, and so it's most definitely Pinkie Pie who showed her their music, and she probably made some offhanded comment about, haha, they're just like us, and Sunset has just been attached to them ever since. This one is also not really a headcanon. Sunset is jacked as hell. This is kind of hinted at in Twilight Sparkle's Science Fair Sparks book, because it's noted that Sunset is the only one that Twilight's crystal prep uniform doesn't really fit correctly. This could also be a hint towards the fact that she's a horse, but it's also most apparent because she can swing a sledgehammer above her head like it's absolutely nothing. This next one's kind of a major headcanon for me. I don't know how popular it is, but I know that I've seen a couple people talk about it online. I believe Sunset was supposed to be the original Princess of Friendship, but when she left Equestria, Celestia was forced to find a new heir to take over once she decided to give up the throne, and that is what Twilight was. This could be a whole other video. I could talk about this for hours. I have a lot of people ask me what I thought Sunset's family life was like in Equestria, and I absolutely love the headcanon that Sunset is Celestia's daughter. Obviously this isn't true, but it's a favourite of mine, and I tend to go down this route whenever I've written FICS for the show. Next one I got asked a lot was, how do I think Sunset got her apartment? So, in Equestria, the currency is bits, and these are essentially just solid pieces of gold. I believe Sunset pawned all the ones that she had off when she first came to the human world, and was probably very wealthy when she first got there. We see her with multiple guitars, a gaming setup, and a loft apartment. Like, none of that is cheap. I think she probably spent a lot of her money already, and uses whatever was left to pay her rent. The sushi gig she has presently is probably to pay for her day-to-day expenses. I had this next one come up a couple of times. How old do I believe Sunset actually is? To explain my thoughts on this, I have to give a wider explanation. I believe time passes differently between the worlds. This explains why Sunset had been gone for so many years but is still only a junior or a senior in high school by the time we see her in the first Equestria Girls film. It also explains why the movies take place almost immediately after one another, yet for Princess Twilight so much time had passed between movies 1 and movie 3, like the Starlight time loop shenanigans. It also explains the concept of being trapped for 30 moons being so dramatic. The production team once described Sunset similar to a senior who had been held back a year or two, so I think physically Sunset may appear older than the girls, but I do believe mentally she is still the same age as the others. Due to human and pony culture being so vastly different, Sunset had to relearn a lot of customs and was always in an environment that treated her like a teenager. She had never been viewed as anything different, never been treated as anything different, so her mental development would not be drastically different from the other people in that environment. So TLDR, I think she's mentally the same age as the other characters but appears slightly older, like a senior who had been held back a couple of years. So this next one is pretty fun to think about, and I can honestly make a longer video going into this in more depth, but I had a couple of people ask me what I believe Sunset and Flash's relationship was like, and honestly, I think they probably had a really good relationship at first. Coming back to the headcanon that time passes differently between worlds, I think it was after Twilight was crowned princess, the title that Sunset wanted, that Sunset became more obsessed with her want for power again. She had to have known the mirror was moved to the Crystal Empire and had to have known about the Princess Summit to know that Twilight was going to be at the castle so that she could steal her crown. So I believe Sunset was running reconnaissance before hatching her plot, and I do think that played a part in her relationship with Flash falling apart. I like to believe that Sunset began playing guitar because she suddenly had to master dexterity with her new hands, and what better way to practice that than with meticulous finger placement. I think Flash also helped a lot in this regard. I think Sunset's favourite video game genre would definitely be first-person shooters and games that she can compete against others in, like Mario Party, but I think she absolutely hates platformers. Games where she has to push a bunch of buttons to do actions probably frustrate the hell out of her, so she absolutely stinks at them. I think her favourite genre of music is probably somewhere between folk and pop rock, like Honey Revenge, Against the Current, Train, and Daughtry. She likes music that she can jam to, music that lets her express the uglier sides of herself, such as anger and everything that goes with that, in a way that isn't negative. From working at a sushi restaurant to decorating her Camp Everfree lantern with bamboo, I like to think that Sunset has an appreciation for Asian culture as a whole. She probably is an anime fan, not superly, but she's definitely seen the classics and is always down to watch a recommendation from her friends, and I do like to think it was Fluttershy that introduced her to this. This one is completely random, but this was a submission I got and I honestly really liked it. I think Sunset would love playing trading card games. Magic the Gathering is probably her favorite, and I like to believe that she likes playing Pegasus and Unicorn themed decks. I don't want to say that she's a white-blue player, I think that's more sci-twi, but she definitely uses some form of control, so she's maybe a white-red player. When I think about Sunset's future after high school, I like to imagine her doing a solo act after the Rainbooms disband due to college pulling them all in different directions. She still keeps in regular contact with everyone for sure, but she would definitely keep up her music even if it's alone. After she's done with that, she probably goes into musical therapy or something similar, always using music to help others. Here's what you've all been waiting for, my Sunset fic recommendations. Long Road to Friendship, Empathy for the Devil, or pretty much any Marvel and Ponder fic. Looking Glass. This next one is also a doozy. Who has better chemistry, Princess Twilight or Sci-Twi? Well, I believe their chemistry is different. Their relationships are different and their bonds are different. In terms of closeness, Sci-Twi wins hands down. Sci-Twi and Sunset kind of balance each other out in a way that is perfect. Sunset gets Twilight to chill out, and Twilight helps Sunset to think about things more pragmatically at times. Sunset was the catalyst that changed Sci-Twi's life for the better. But beyond that, Sunset was the one who, time and time again, reassured Twilight that her worst nightmares couldn't hurt her, so long as she believed in her friends. And I think Twilight's never really had someone in her corner like that before, and that's the beauty of it. Princess Twilight may have done the same for Sunset, but Princess Twilight's relationship with Sunset is more like mentor and student. They are friends, don't get me wrong, but I think there's only so deep their relationship can go when Princess Twilight just isn't really around. Where do I think human Sunset Shimmer is? Haha. And last but not least, I do have a longer video planned that goes into this a little deeper, but I think Sunset's change in magic color is to symbolize her change as a person. Her magic before was used for evil, self-gratifying goals, and therefore it was reflected in the color of her magic. And now her powers are used for the benefit of others, selflessness, and so it is reflected outwardly, because red was the color that was added to the rainbow at the end of Rainbow Rocks. So what do you guys think? Do you have any headcanons or thoughts I didn't get to in this video? Let me know down below. Until next time.